Today, we're diving into a story from the American Civil War you've probably never heard. It's about 65 men who took a stand for what they believed in and paid an absolutely horrific price for it. They're known as the Sale Creek 65.
Let's just start with one number, because it says it all. More than half of this one small group of Union soldiers from Tennessee, over 50% would be dead by the end of the war. That's a mortality rate that's, well, it's just staggering. So you have to ask, right? Who were these guys, and how on earth did this one specific group end up with such a catastrophic fate? That's what we're going to unpack.
To get to the bottom of it, we have to go right back to the beginning. It all started with a secret meeting and a very dangerous promise in a state that was tearing itself apart.
So the Sale Creek 65, they weren't, career soldiers. Not at all. They were mostly just young farmers from a place called North Hamilton County, Tennessee. We're talking about men with names like Hickson, Levi, and Crow. And in late 1861, they made a choice that would seal their fates. They secretly pledged their loyalty to the Union.
And their whole journey, wow, it happens with just shocking speed. It all kicks off with that secret pledge in 1861. Just 2 years later, they're captured. And then, only a few months after that, they arrive at the one place where most of them would take their last breath.
And listen, their commitment wasn't just talk. Right after making that pledge, they sprang into action. They burned 2 really crucial Confederate bridges. Then, get this, they walked for 13 straight nights, only moving in the dark, to cross into Kentucky and officially sign up with the Union Army.
Okay, so now they're officially soldiers in the 2nd Tennessee Infantry. And for a little while, their story has this sense of purpose, even a taste of victory. But their luck was about to take a dramatic, just awful turn.
And for a brief moment, they really did have their moment of glory. Their unit actually became famous for capturing the Confederate General John H. Morgan. A huge deal at the time, a major win that definitely put them on the map.
But war is all about these whiplash-inducing highs and lows, and their big triumph was incredibly short-lived. It was the disastrous Battle of Rogersville in November of 1863 that became the turning point where everything went wrong.
And the scale of that disaster was just immense. 400 Union soldiers were captured in one fell swoop, and right there among them were our guys from Sale Creek. Just like that, their time as active soldiers was over. Their harrowing journey as prisoners was about to begin. This capture led them to a name that has become totally synonymous with the absolute worst horrors of the Civil War, Andersonville Prison in Georgia. And it's here in this place that we find the real answer to why so many of them died.
So, why was their experience so particularly deadly? Well, a diary from a fellow prisoner gives us the chilling reason. Because they were Unionists from a Confederate state, they were literally singled out for worse treatment. They were branded as traitors to the Confederacy.
And the result of that targeted treatment? It was staggering. The 2nd Tennessee Infantry, their regiment, ended up suffering the 3rd highest mortality rate in the entire Union Army. You have to understand, for these men, getting captured was basically a death sentence.
And behind all these shocking statistics are just devastating personal stories. The human cost becomes terrifyingly real when you zoom in on just one family, the Hickson brothers.
I mean, the prison basically erased their family. Henry died in May, then James, who was only 26 years old, he died in August, and then Samuel, he was gone by September. 3 brothers, wiped out in just 4 brutal months.
And this tragedy just rips through other families in the group. Take the Weiss family, for example, a father and his 18-year-old son who enlisted together and were captured together.
They went through it all side by side. The father, Michael, he died of pneumonia on April 4th. His 18-year-old son, William, died of smallpox just 2 weeks later. Can you even imagine?
And it just goes on and on. These weren't just soldiers. They were husbands. They were fathers. James Crow, James Levi, Alfred Vandergriff, all of them died in that prison. Every single one leaving behind a wife and young children to somehow face a future without them.
By the summer of 1864, most of the Sales Creek group were gone, buried in anonymous mass graves. So, what happened when the war was finally over, and how is it that we can even remember them today?
Well, first, it's just really important to understand the sheer scale of Andersonville. We're talking about nearly 13,000 Union prisoners dying there in just over a year. The story of the Sale Creek 65 was one horrifying part of an almost unimaginable catastrophe. But after the war ended in 1865, there was a kind of reckoning. The prison's commander was actually tried and executed for war crimes, and, this is so important, those mass graves were painstakingly exhumed, and each soldier was given their own marked headstone, restoring their name, their identity.
And this is where the past connects right to us, right now. Their story is not lost to time. Because of the incredible work of historians, you can go online to a site like findagrave.com, search their names, and see the actual headstones that mark their final resting places today.
All of this really leaves us with one last crucial question. The story of the Sale Creek 65 is about immense principle and profound sacrifice. It's a powerful reminder that behind the big, sweeping narratives of history are individual people making individual choices that lead to individual tragedies. So the question is, how do we make sure that those stories and the people in them are never, ever forgotten?